It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
Welcome to the 40th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined as always by Eric Schwartz and Claudia Yaw, and we're at 40 episodes. That's officially the Ruby anniversary of this podcast, and what a ride it's been. From our humble beginnings early in the pandemic, talking about masks and making jokes and bringing Nightcrawler in as a guest to poorly attempt to answer the news quiz, to whatever this is. 40 episodes in. Great. Any thoughts?
I can't be certain we're actually at 40 episodes because you always skip an episode and then we just pretend like we didn't. So I think we're actually at 38.
But it's not a math podcast.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, we can pretend that it's 40. That's fine.
We're gonna go with 40. It is Sunday, March 14th, and we've had a lot of buildings come down lately.
Yeah, it has been a bad month for buildings.
Scotty B's in Tenino, demolished. The old Safeway without a roof on North Tower, in the process of being demolished. The Wells Fargo building in Chehalis will soon be vacant.
Not demolished.
I shudder to think what's next for our local buildings. In other news, yesterday was Selection Sunday. Either you guys watch a lot of college basketball?
I watch a little bit of college basketball, yes.
Congratulations on your Eags making it in. I think they got a 15 seed.
No, they're a 14 seed.
Wow.
Don't try to take that from me, Aaron.
Sorry.
They've got a better seed than Drexel, which is where our local boy is.
That's this is the first time I can remember a real local connection in the college basketball tournament. Aside from the time a guy called and claimed the leading scorer on Eastern was a local kid. He was not. There were no local kids on the team. I don't know what he was talking about.
You sure about that? It could have been over, babe.
Pretty sure.
Oh, it was basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
No. We've never had a local guy there.
So the local team is, the local connection is on Drexel, where Zach Walton, a 2015 Morton High School grad, is one of their starting forwards. He's averaging about 10 points a game. And Drexel is a 16 seed. They're playing 1 seed Illinois on Friday. That game is on TBS at 10:15 a.m. And that has been News Dump Sports.
That's it. We're not going to do any more, right?
No, actually, we don't have any more sports.
Are
today.
you putting money on Drexel in that game? That's the big question.
No, I don't have an online gambling account. Otherwise, I might.
Eastern's playing a little small directional school known as Kansas, and I like their chances.
Kansas. Never heard of them. Are they a basketball program?
No, I don't know. More of a football school.
Yeah, definitely. Our first news topic. It's weird not looking at the internet's out, and so we are reading. I have the notes on paper.
We're putting out a podcast like damn pilgrims today.
I don't like it. Can't click on any of these links. I'm just poking the paper with my finger like some kind of pioneer. Anyway, the first topic is Peter Abbarno to his constituents saying, rank the issues by importance. He put a poll up on the internet. I'd love to see it, but here we are. And first of all, yeah.
The lights are off.
Yeah, there is a light out in this office, as usual. It's cold.
There's a half-drinking Zima sitting over there for some reason.
Unrelated.
Who only drank half of their Zima?
Who drinks a whole Zima?
Oh,
that's a better question.
High school me, probably. First of all, as far as Abbarno's rank the issues deal goes, I love this idea. I think all politicians should do this. Send out a list of issues and say rank them, which ones you want me to work the hardest on or whatever. So,
do you think he works exactly that hard on the issues? Like if something like reducing the tax burden came in at number 7 and a tax bill comes up,
he's just sorry.
I'm just going to take a step out here.
It's a 30% effort cap right now.
Yes, I'm actually working on preserving Second Amendment rights right now. I'll get to your tax burden later. So the 7 issues he put out there for locals to vote on were addressing local homelessness, protecting the environment, reducing tax burdens, reopening our schools, reopening our local businesses, preserving my Second Amendment rights, and other, which could include more funding for podcasts, something along those lines. What do you two see as the most important issues that Abbarno has listed for constituents to discuss?
Oh man, you tell us what yours is, and I will make my determination then.
Obviously, mine would be other, and I would come up with something nonsensical.
Gotcha.
No, I have addressing local homelessness as the top among these issues, which do not necessarily reflect what statewide people might say the issues are. They seem very tailored to Lewis County, but he's playing to his base, as he should.
Yeah, and like any of these are not something that he would be able to take care of by himself anyway, so it's kind of more of a taking the temperature, I guess.
He's a pretty ambitious guy. I think if he wants to get out there and protect the environment, he could do it all by himself.
He certainly could. I was surprised not to see flooding on there, honestly. I guess that's not something that affects his.
That's kind of the environment.
I mean, protecting our environment from flooding, that doesn't really work. I don't think. So I guess that would go under other, and I don't know how I would rank these things.
Claudia, what do you see as the most pressing of the issues Peter Abbarno has presented?
I don't know if I can say one is more important than the other, but yeah, like you said, homelessness is definitely a big one and is a kind of statewide crisis that impacts other issues that he's listed here, like the environment, stuff like that.
Well, the governor has agreed that the schools need to be reopened, so check that one off the list. I think a lot of businesses are reopened, so we can check that one off the list. And, just from that, he's accomplished so much already.
Yeah, that's a lot. Now you just got to protect the tax burden there.
And the Second Amendment rights, which there was a rally up in Olympia for yesterday.
There's, I don't know, maybe Claudia can tell me this. There's some legislation that was going to make it illegal to open carry at a protest, not just at the Capitol, right, but in public spaces.
In a public space, if it has a permitted public protest, and the bill specifically targeted the Capitol campus.
Right, and I think that drove a lot of it. But they have a gun rally up there at least once every session, at least in my experience. In this one, if this is the one per session, I think there's been another one, but it looked like it wasn't widely attended. It didn't look like too large of a crowd. I've seen it get pretty crazy up there. Even last session, there were several hundred people on the steps.
Yeah, there was some shootings too. I wonder if that influenced this potential piece of legislation.
Yes, I wonder what could have provoked this act of legislating. I don't know. It is kind of fun, not funny, but odd when you think about last year. You had several hundred people on the steps of the Capitol with guns, and then since then you've had like the Oregon legislature overrun, obviously the U.S. Capitol overrun.
Plans for the Washington State Capitol.
Yeah, plans for the Washington State Capitol. So it's a completely different world just 1 year later, having very little to do with the coronavirus in that way.
All right, shall we move on to, do we want to talk about the Lewis County criminalizing drug possession locally after the Supreme Court decision? Do we want to get into that?
Claudia's had an update to this story that you've got here on the notes since then. They're pursuing a local ordinance. I think she could certainly update you on that.
You had
Claudia,
questions?
Explain, yes. I read the story, and as I understand it, the Supreme Court said the state's drug possession law was unconstitutional.
To put it very simply, the court ruled that it was too vague and that it didn't specify that just knowingly possessing drugs was illegal, and it criminalized passive behavior. So, if you're arrested and you say, I didn't know I had these drugs on me. Which
incidentally is the go-to defense.
Yeah. But so the court ruled that the entire statute was unconstitutional because it was too vague. And so it struck it down. And the fallout from that was all of these drug possession cases dating back until like the 70s were vacated, which was a huge deal. And so the state legislature has two bills to create a quote-unquote fix to that and recriminalize willful possession. But our county officials are really fearful that the state legislature is not actually going to pass it, that there's not the political will to pass it. And so they are looking to create their own ordinance. It's already drafted, and there's going to be a public hearing on the 30th.
How quickly were they able to draft a local ordinance?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm not sure when the actual court decision came down, but I think like within a week.
They've actually produced the ordinance? It's done and complete?
Yeah, they had a...
Sorry about that. The internet issues we're having cut out the podcast there somehow.
That had nothing to do with the internet, all to do with our ham-fisted producer.
I just wanted a drink of water. Anyway, and so the ordinance is, they drafted it quickly.
They drafted it, fairly quickly. Yeah.
All right. So do you think the state will pass the fix?
So... Neither of the bills in the legislature have made any progress. They haven't even been scheduled for their first public hearing, and then they would have to get passed over to the other chamber and have a public hearing. So very little movement on it. So that definitely adds incentive to the county. And some county officials have even said, well, maybe if we are one of the first counties to pass a local ordinance, maybe that will light a fire under the state and convince them to do so.
Okay.
And I'm no legal expert. I know that shocks both of you. But if so, say somebody gets arrested on this new ordinance, can they sue? How long would it take for that to get back to the same Supreme Court that found the other ordinance unconstitutional?
That's a great question. So, actually, today there was a conversation with Eric Eisenberg at the prosecutor's office, and basically what he was saying is they fully expect this ordinance to prompt a legal challenge. And he was saying, we actually want that to happen as quick as possible. And he even said something really interesting of the first person that we book on this charge, we would potentially think about giving them some sort of deal and asking them to challenge it legally, just so we can get it through the court and make sure that it's legally sound. So our prosecuting office thinks that it could be legal and it's going to be, solid, but just having that reassurance and having a court validate that, I think is what they're looking for.
It sounds like there's an opportunity there for a local drug user to become part of the state Supreme Court record.
I was going to say, right after this thing passes, assuming it passes, you just kind of stick a baggie in your pocket, let it hang out just a little, and walk around in the Law and Justice Center parking lot.
Come and get me.
Just looking in some windows here. Not going to take nothing.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled. Astute local drug users, get over there. Next item, Tenino Mayor says recall effort lacking in substance and facts, which is exactly what you would say if you were prospectively being recalled. Tenino Mayor Wayne Fournier.
The potential alternative reality headline, Tenino Mayor says recall effort full of substance and fact.
Very reasonable, yeah.
So a Tenino resident in spearheading this effort references a 2019 assault charge against the mayor. He references the city's recent loss of $270,000 to fraudsters and other allegations, including that the mayor failed to file his oath of office and intended on illegally gifting funds. Fournier called some charges, including the allegation that his oath of office is not properly filed, kind of silly and easy to disprove. So, do we think he'll get recalled? My gut says no.
Did his predecessor, marijuana, Mayor Eric Strawn, if that man wasn't recalled, then I'm saying that it's impossible.
What's the hot goss?
He's just a big pot guy.
There was a mayor. Anyone who knows Tenino will remember this guy. His name was Eric Strawn. He was a bit unconventional, elected by the people though.
Yeah.
And he had a stand-up comedy routine where he went by marijuana, calling into radio stations.
That's so funny.
He allegedly once threw a chair at Mayor Fournier. He once stole a sign on video.
Was he the one who wasn't there a Tenino official that got caught
I was getting to that. I was going down the list.
An untoward affair in a city vehicle in the parking lot.
He was having an affair in a city vehicle in the Yelm Fitness.
Well, Tenino doesn't have motels. It's something they could address if he was the mayor.
It's true. Anyways,
wow,
that's
what, so juicy. And I was thinking the one allegation in here of Fournier getting kicked out of a bar and kind of pushing a woman. I thought that was pretty wild, but what you're describing is
Yeah,
crazier.
no, Wayne Fournier rose as the answer to Eric Strawn way back in the day. And it's just funny. That office seems to attract a fair amount of controversy. And yeah, losing $270,000, I'm not saying it was his fault, but when a city loses it and you're the mayor, you got to answer to that.
Yeah.
And the assault thing that you mentioned, I know if Mayor Fournier heard this, he would wince being accused of assault, but it's not us. He actually got charged with it.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it worked out. And yeah.
I think he went through like a 2-year diversion
Gotcha.
sort of situation. Yeah, so his response to that was, look, like I not did my time because he never did any time. But
paid his
you know,
debt to society.
Exactly. I
He
had my
fulfilled his
consequences.
obligations.
I do remember the Olympians headline was Tenino mayor assaults woman in bar.
That's a bad
Not
look.
a good look.
Right, but technically correct at the time.
So the recall effort, I think by the end of the month, the Thurston County Superior Court is going to decide whether it has enough merit to go forward or not. I might
right.
have that date wrong, but soon.
Yeah, we don't have internet, people. Check cronline.com. We have a story on it. That was your story as well. So, yeah, Tenino's always fun, though. I love
Tenino has always been just a hub for interesting news stories. Remember the time we were driving through there and there was like a car flipped over? We could see it from the bar. The place we stopped.
The 25 mile per hour zone somehow flipped over.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
tire caught tire and
They have
things
some
went
cool wooden
haywire.
money. That's
they
do have
got
wooden
money.
money.
Yeah.
They got a lot of rocks. They got a quarry pond.
Yeah, they do.
Quarry pool.
They got a quarry pool. They got cool stuff out there.
Yeah. Next item.
I don't feel like we accomplished anything there.
Officials warn growth in Winlock could overwhelm emergency services. Winlock blowing up. Winlock has been identified as a major growth opportunity in the county with its industrial park slated to host a Lowe's distribution facility and an old apostolic Lutheran church under construction that is expected to draw over 50 families. I think going to move there just for church.
They built a church there, yeah.
Wow. So the city is looking at impact fees, which are one-time payments made by developers to offset infrastructure improvements and whatnot. But most of the development is probably going to happen outside city limits, so it'd have to be a county thing. So, do we think Winlock is in fact blowing up, or is it just blowing smoke?
I think yes. I think it is. Like just the number of homes and apartments that are in the planning stage, it's in the hundreds. And their mayor estimated that like their population is going to double within the next 7-ish years.
Interesting.
I think the numbers were there to back it up.
Counterpoint Schwartz?
No, I agree with her. I just want to note that they being the royal the Lewis County has been talking about that as a potential economic point of growth for well over a decade. When I started covering the county, they were like, the Winlock Industrial Park, that's going to be our bread and butter because there's just not a whole lot of land around here that isn't in the floodplain or potential floodplain. So, yeah, I think so. Once you've got that anchor development in there and you got more land, it seems like that would make sense. Maybe they can put a Costco distribution center out there. Am I right? Am I right?
In just a moment. But first, on the other side of the South County, the county begrudgingly rescinds support for Toledo Airport expansion. Can we play some sad taps music?
You
for
should
the
include major expansion for
Major-
like C-Tech size expansion. I'm told by a certain county commissioner that they do want the
They want the
expansion.
hangars.
Yeah, they want hangars and they want improvements, which Claudia did a good job in her story. I think I might have just chopped her headline down a bit. But yeah, no C-Tech though. No C-Tech.
They want hangars, and so I imagine the Toledo Air people like standing out there as they're building more hangars. Like when you're talking to the waiter at Olive Garden and they're dumping Parmesan on your stuff. Say when.
I'll tell you when to stop.
That's enough. So angry Toledo people are taking up too much of Commissioner Gary Stamper's time.
That's
fun.
pretty much it, yeah.
So yeah, an airport expert confirmed that the Toledo airport is way too small, the runway is too short, and also the major airlines don't want to be in South Lewis County. Perhaps they haven't heard about Winlock. It seems like, at long last, the saga of Toledo, maybe being the site of an airport in 30 years, has come to a close.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Should the county perhaps have sent the people of Toledo some of its sweet, sweet Satan spinach to chill them out?
Satan spinach, I like it.
That's another new one.
Did they look at the Packwood Airport?
Yeah, another place that definitely major airlines want to go.
Yeah, I think
East
that would be
Lewis
even
County.
more. Yeah, that would be further away.
Just land it right on top of White Pass, and then people can just slide on down to whichever side of the mountains they want to go.
Right next to Michael's golf course over there at the TransAlta property. Then.
Put it out at Michael's house. Yeah. We'll get to Michael in a minute. So our last news item, Costco hits pause on logistics center work at the port of Chehalis. They've discovered significant costs associated with leveling out the property. There is apparently a 20-foot slope from one end to the other, which could help with drainage, but probably not with storage. Mm-hmm. So Randy Mueller, Port of Chehalis CEO. Is he CEO?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Executive Director. Maybe we'll do the math, and it turns out this is still the best option for them, but based on the extra expense of the dirt work, at this point they are focusing on looking at the other locations.
Dang.
Yeah, the most striking thing, too, was when, I don't remember who said it in the story. Again, we're without internet here. Mm-hmm. But that they could basically give them the land for free, and it would still be more cost-effective for them to build on flat ground somewhere else where they had to buy the property.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy, because, like, when you look at, like, it sounds like such an easy fix, and the fact that it's just an engineering nightmare, I guess, is wild. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, and you've seen, we've seen similar things, not to, single out the Port of Chehalis, because the Port of Centralia, for instance, at one point thought Fred Meyer was going to be coming here. Mm-hmm. Other conditions changed, and Fred Meyer is not. Now Winco is supposed to be coming here. But it did seem like with the Costco announcement, it seemed firm. Like when I read the press
going
release.
to build the biggest building in Lewis County.
Yeah.
So what gets to keep its title as largest building in Lewis County now?
It's got to be the sports hub, right?
Is that the biggest building? I thought it was one of the distribution centers.
Oh,
out
you're
in the
right.
Port of
Yeah,
Centralia.
it's something in the ports for sure, or maybe
one of Heaton's huts out there.
Yeah. You're right. It's got to be the grocery distribution spot. That thing's massive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, all right.
Maybe you could put a Costco distribution center out on your property, out on the watch.
It is not level.
Just a minor drop off.
Just slide right into the Skookumchuck. Are we ready for Tales from the Takes page?
I guess so. That was your last topic, huh?
That was it. The internet is out. I was unable to add more. If there's anything you'd like to bring up now, either of you, now is the time.
No, I suppose that's fine.
All right, Tales from the Takes page. And there was a letter that asked never to let Michael write again or something. Care to comment, editor?
I thought it was pretty funny because the person, they submitted it as a letter to the editor, but it said, please don't publish. It's like a way of people knowing they can get to the newsroom out through the site. And they said all sorts of nice things. Love the site. Looks beautiful. Easy to navigate. Oh, and please never let Michael write again.
What was their complaint?
They didn't have one. They
didn't like Michael.
Just threw out there, I just plain don't like Michael Wagar.
Dang.
Well, Michael's column this week was time for schools to open up all the way. One of his quotes, how about getting all the teachers vaccinated now who desire the shot? I agree. How about emergency resolutions from our state, county, and local leaders that provide more staffing and financial assistance for the final 2 months of the school year? Yeah, agree. Good idea, Michael.
Well, I mean, if you read his whole column, too, there is a point where you might disagree with him. He thinks it's time for hybrid to be gone completely and just be in school full time, which I've heard a lot of parents that I talk to that want that and don't see why we're doing that anymore. If it's safe 3 days a week, why not say 5 days a week? But he's the first columnist I've seen to come out and say that, though. So, but he towed a line there, I thought.
Yeah. Another
just open the school with no funding to help with all the extra precautions and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Great take by Michael.
But this week he was not. I'm sorry. He was not the most popular columnist. That went back to Brian Mittge this week.
Oh, and Mittge is just sitting with his lap covered in an old quilt next to the fire, playing music for the children and writing columns. A return to regular life is just around the corner. Mittge told the tale of taking some of his older relatives to get the vaccine, and also he saw a beautiful sunset.
His column from last week, this is kind of a sequel, but last week it was like a similar theme. I think you talked about it. And just, we're nearing the end of this thing. For some reason, it really upset people down at the Reflector because I published it at the NVN, the Nisqually Valley News, the Chronicle, and the Reflector. But I've been getting lots of emails about it, and several of them were just F you.
What?
Well, he was kind of like, that we're succeeding in spite of people that refuse to take precautions and things like that. And they felt like they were being belittled. So.
Being singled out for.
Get over it. I thought you were gonna say people were upset because he was
Positive.
saying that too early and might be giving the wrong message. I feel like some public health folks would be like, hey, still wear a mask, even if you're vaccinated, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's not what it was. It's easy to rile those folks down south.
I just love that you can read a Mickey column and just accurately imagine him sitting at the kitchen table shortly after, like, sending the kids off to do school in their rooms with their computers.
Do you just assume his house is candlelit?
Well, no, because this is during the daytime.
I
at
always
night,
picture
yes.
him writing the columns with, like, pen and paper.
Or quill?
I could see
Yeah.
that.
Quill and
An
yeah.
old-fashioned typewriter. He strikes me as still having, like, a massive 1990s desktop computer on the kitchen table.
No way. Not Mickey.
Yeah, I love how you can just picture Mickey doing things, and it's probably accurate.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Mickey. I did not prepare a business feature roundup.
Neither did I.
Did we have any business this week?
We did, I think.
There was Grill on the Green.
Yeah. we did
Golf
have that.
courses
Great.
restaurant.
That looks
It
cool.
was very cute in there. They informed me on what tachos are. They
They
are
sound delicious.
tater tot nachos.
I have
Apparently
had
it's-
those somewhere, and they are delicious.
I
Quite
had never
good.
heard of them. My mind was blown. It was very cool.
Where have I had those?
Was it Grill on the Green?
It was not Grill on the Green. It was some bar.
So they're going by Grill on the Green. It's not Nowacum Grill on the Green or
They're
anything
going
like
by Grill on the Green.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what their social media is, but like nothing on like Google Maps has been updated. So that's probably not doing them any
Several
favors.
owners ago, I used to go there for Taco Tuesday, and it was fantastic. So I don't know if they're still doing that.
It's really cute in there. They have like the 70s space that.
I think that's just how it's been forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said.
It's
So, right.
It's
the
got a
Nowacum
vibe, though.
Clubhouse.
It's
yeah,
cute.
it's cool.
So it's currently open 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., but it's expanding in April. Is that right?
Yeah, they're very excited about that. You're going to get music in there.
And they bought this thing during the pandemic, right? So we've already gone through all the stories of I bought this business right before the pandemic. I've read that story, I swear, 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
They just full on, they knew what they were jumping into.
Yeah.
I hope they got a great deal. Like,
Yeah.
you also wrote about O'Blarney's. We had a business feature on O'Blarney's. Also from
never heard of
Claudia.
it.
I did.
Explain,
yeah, 'cause
someone. What are
Wednesday-
Abbarno's?
Is Wednesday St. Patty's Day?
Yeah,
Some-
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, they're just stoked on that. They're going to get green beer and stuff.
All right.
And that we did, you did like do full circle from the last year when they shut down during the pandemic. And I only bring it up because Jackson Gardner, former host of this podcast,
Co-host.
he went over there to write the story about, the last night before the restrictions kicked in. And he was sitting at the bar and like just palling around with people, asking questions. He's a real personable guy, you know him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's our Jackson. And then, like, as he's about to leave, he was just like, so anyways, I'm a reporter at the Chronicle.
Jackson, no.
Can I get your names? They were all friendly and they liked him, but
What the heck?
Not that much.
the
Oh, my
bartender, who, I know barely, explained it to me like that, and it cracked me up, so.
Jeez.
Was the bartender,
pissed.
was it the missus?
Yes, it was the missus.
Okay. All right.
That was a cool, like, full circle because the restrictions were put in place on St.
Yeah.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah, it was a real bum deal.
Yeah, that would suck.
I have breaking news. The internet's back.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just in time for People's Champion of the Week, we have 2 options here.
Oh boy, we're gonna vote?
The first, we'll have a vote. The first, Thurston County Canine Arlo gets an honorable discharge.
Yeah, Arlo's already been in there once.
Well, then we have a second option. Chehalis City Clerk Karen Foley,
Oh,
who is
yeah.
retiring after more than 3 decades of dealing with that awful, awful Chehalis City Council, full of the most crooked individuals in the mid-city.
No, that's a good one. I think that is much better than the dog. How many reporters do you think she has assisted over her more than 3 decades?
Originally hired in August 1986 to fill a temporary 6-month position.
I'm I'm betting 60, 70 maybe.
Well,
60 or 70, that seems high.
yeah, clerks do the Lord's work.
Yeah.
I'd go like 30 probably.
Well,
Because I'm sure there's some reporters that have had a like multi-year run there.
very few. I would have probably been one of them. I'm going to ask Celine Fitzgerald to ask that very question so we can know for sure.
And name them.
And name them.
She will be formally honored at the next city council meeting.
Yeah, I think there's an open house for her tomorrow on Tuesday.
Cute.
Great. The Chehalis City Council is actually not full of terrible people. They're all quite nice.
Now that Chad's gone, right? Am I
Yeah,
right?
now that Chad's out of there. So, yeah, we have decided on Karen Foley as People's Champion of the Week. Congratulations. I'm sure it's the most exciting thing in your life this week.
I misread your notes, and I thought you had the fake animal shelter employee as the People's Champion of the Week.
No, that
Glad
is
it's not.
definitely the Sirens Banger of the Week. Lewis County says imposter posing as animal shelter employee. My only note is, what kind of Cruella de Vil shit is this? Officials say they've had multiple reports of a person posing as a Lewis County Animal Shelter staff member and that the imposter has been going onto private property, including through closed gates, and telling people they're there to pick up the stray animal and transport to the shelter.
I found this hard to follow. We got a press release late on Friday about this, and I still don't 100% understand like what the motive of this individual would be, like just to take animals. Or
Just doing some trespassing?
Yeah, I don't know what their motive would be. Because, like, if it's a stray animal, like, could they be selling it on, like...
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
Dog,
Ugh,
the
I don't wanna
dog
think about
market is
that.
bonkers these days. It really is. You know,
Yeah.
you used to be able to find a perfectly good dog in the Walmart parking lot. And
Jeez.
nowadays,
or
they want a
whatever.
$500 rehoming fee for a 15...
Sounds like we got a motive over here.
Yeah.
yes,
Tell us more about how
several
upset
dogs.
you are.
I'm not in the market for a dog. Just saying, if I were, it's tough out there.
Approaching strangers in the Walmart parking lot. I used to be able to get 4 or 5 puppies for this much.
Yeah, they did go in the press release about, you know, don't just give it to somebody who spotted it online or something like that, though. So maybe that is the motivation, or just somebody that just considers themselves maybe like the dog, the bounty hunter
Of dogs.
you know, not a cop necessarily, but they're going to show up and take care of this animal.
Maybe it's like a pet detective situation, and that's
Could
their
be.
cover for getting into tight spots.
Could be.
All right, shall we go with Facebook comments of the week?
I guess.
All right. From the article on 28 sheriffs watching us, a lot of people took issue with that headline.
Yeah, let me. That is what Sheriff Snaza said. He said that the other 28 sheriffs are watching us, but there are in fact 39,
There's
I believe.
30, so he meant to say 38, and that was my bad. I should have corrected that or omitted it. I just it didn't even cross through my brain.
Yeah, my fault too. It went through both of us. So, I mean, I did specifically ask you not to bring this up, Aaron, and you've made a fool out of me here.
I said we had to address it. That's what the podcast is for.
No. Yeah. It wouldn't have been an issue if in the print edition of the paper, I think, I hadn't pulled that out as like a pull quote and put it above. And in my stupid head, I was thinking like, oh, he knows there's 28 other sheriffs. His buddies in the association or
Like
something.
he counted the ones that would wanna-
that would want to
Yeah.
do an ordinance like this. And that's silly in retrospect. But the sheriff misspoke. We quoted accurately, and it's all accurate. But
Yeah.
most of the time we would, pull out 28 and put in parentheses 38. So they know that he didn't say it, but that's what he
Yeah,
meant.
because that's just confusing to readers, too.
But carry on with your hateful comments.
More comments on the same story. Why were only Republican officials quoted? This screams of pushing a narrative instead of an even-handed approach to news. Like, do we have any
We
local
talked about this last
Democrat
week.
officials?
Like,
Several instances
When
of this
folks
on here.
thinks it's bias and it's like, all of our county commissioners are Republicans, our law enforcement tend to be conservative, like the folks running Lewis County, who we have an obligation to report on and who dominate what's going to happen in Lewis County. If they're Republicans, yeah, our coverage is going to be on Republicans.
All right, another comment. I like this one. Snaza is an old dinosaur. Dinosaurs like him did not want you to listen to rock and roll, dance, or drink alcohol. Time to dump him. Protect and serve, not just wacko opinions on citizens. Now, I disagree with it because I believe that you would be hard-pressed to find somebody that likes rock and roll, dancing, and drinking alcohol more than Snaza. I don't know that he likes drinking alcohol that much, but he strikes me as the kind of guy that definitely likes to, rock out, do a little dance, and maybe have a beer from time to time.
Yeah, Yeah, I could see that.
Just an unfair characterization by that.
It feels like it was said by an old dinosaur that was like trying to call someone else out. Oh, with his rock and roll and his hip music.
It's just like that guy. He's just like that pastor that tried to outlaw dancing in my town. Another comment, no sense in any of it. It's socialist. Open all the borders and legalize drugs. Lord, we got your back, Snazza. Lewis County does, in fact, have open borders. I'm pretty sure you can walk down to Cowlitz County right now if you wanted.
Terrifying.
I
Yeah.
would wager that Lewis County also likewise has Snoz's back on this
They do.
particular issue.
This was a very long comment on legislation on changing high school mascots from Native American themed mascots. The outright ban of these mascots and nicknames will cost so much money. The repainting of gym floors, new signage, new uniforms, not to mention the cost of rebranding assistance company, will sneak in and try to get some money. I'm just
Such
gonna
a
cut
red
the thing.
herring.
I'm gonna cut the comment off there because I did cover sports for a decade, and changing mascots and nicknames will not cost you that much money.
You also have to do it anyway every couple of years, don't you? Like,
Not necessarily. It's not a big thing.
You
but
do like a rebranding from
Yeah.
time to time. Like, I mean, I know
and
in
the
high
new
school we
bill
did.
gives more leeway so that you could time that rebranding to get rid of like native themed mascots during a year when you're already getting new equipment.
Yeah, and
So it kind of addresses that concern already.
yeah, you get new uniforms every few years anyway. The repainting of gym floors, like not that many. Like Toledo's gym floor does not have. It might say Indians on one end or something, but getting that painted over is not a substantial cost or anything. That's the kind of thing you do when you're refinishing the gym floor, which is also something that you do relatively often.
Also, like, pretty insulting, I feel like, to like elevate the cost, which, like you said, is fairly low, above all of these indigenous voices who are saying this is so dehumanizing.
Yeah.
Especially in the the egregious examples of like Chief Wahoo was up there until like a couple months ago. You know, I could see that just being really offensive.
I think it's nice to know that that's increasingly in the minority, though, even with our own delegation up in the legislature. And the vote so far has been not even close. It was like 4 or 5 lawmakers voting against this bill.
Yep.
I was going to point out, though, that Julie McDonald, in her column that'll appear in Tuesday's edition, gave us some possible replacement names for the Toledo Indians.
Oh, they were so good.
The first one was the Toledo Cowlitz.
Yeah. I mean, that's runs up against the Calamashinooks, though.
Right.
I like
which
the
is
also something
volcanoes.
She said it's probably safer to go with and I don't know where Knights came from, but the Toledo Knights, the Toledo Pioneers, the Toledo Sasquatches,
Yeah, I like that.
the Toledo
People-
Cheeseheads.
Yeah, do the cheeseheads.
Here's
do
one
that.
you're going to like, Aaron. We've got the Toledo Steamboaters.
Love it.
I knew you were going to like that.
so
How did I know you were
Does
going to
the
like
train run by them? They could be like,
I mean, yeah, there's
The
a train in every
cabooses?
town. The steamboaters?
that?
That's
The volcanoes.
awesome.
I think the volcanoes is the best.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's,
And that's, like,
steamboaters
local
are
and
nothing for
relevant.
me.
Steelhead were the other, and Thunderbolts.
What was the old guy that died on Mount St. Helens? Was that Harry Truman? Was that the old guy's name?
Harry S. Truman,
Yeah, the Toledo Trumans.
I guess.
It's historical. One last comment. This is a comment on the photo gallery from the Open Carry Rally in Olympia.
Oh, just today.
Just says, so where's your fair and balanced journalism? Again,
Pictures.
these were just photos of people standing around with guns. I don't
It's
know
fair,
what
though.
other side of it you
People
wanted
can
to get.
people can decide what they expect out of the newspaper. I thought of it when I was looking at it. You can dive in and do a full story, or I mean, ideally, you have one of those and you have a story about gun legislation or something to go with it. And there was nothing current. I hadn't found anything that was fresher than a week ago. So, but that's a fair comment.
and
I'll
photos are
take
not,
that.
photos are not inherently objective. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a big misconception.
Some of those photos, pretty interesting. Leave it at that. Anything you guys want to talk about is coming in Tuesday's paper?
We've got a story from Emily Fitzgerald on 2 young ladies coming together to spread awareness about their mothers. One was Nancy Moyer, who, as you know, went missing well over a decade ago. And then Karen Bodine, who was found dead in 2007. So their daughters have become friends and recently held an event out in Tenino, just waving signs, trying to raise awareness and, talk about them as much as they can. And I thought that was a cool story, just because you were around for both of those as well, when both of Moyer went missing, and then also the death. You were here, so
Yeah.
a lot of time has passed, and so it's nice to see that their daughters have grown up and, not only haven't forgotten their mothers, but are making them a focal point of their life. So I have a story on that. We have, what else do we have? That's the best one that I can remember. Sorry,
That was a great
my
one.
internet's slowing up here.
I'll blame the internet again.
Well, the aforementioned, I am going to blame the internet. We have more wooden money in Tenino. There's that.
Yeah.
Chamber.
Wow.
Chamber. I don't know that I understand this time as much as I understood the last one from the city. So correct me if I'm wrong, Claudia. You can take $20 down to the Chamber of Commerce or a number of other places, and they give you a wooden
Certificate?
square,
Yeah.
worth $21.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then you can go use it at local businesses.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
kind of like a $1 discount. And I
just-
think they're hoping that people will not actually
Right.
return it and redeem it, because that's what happened
It's a
when the city
collector's
did
item
it.
thing?
Yeah, yeah.
They're really just trying to
So
do a
the-
Beanie Babies out there with their wooden money.
And it'll probably work too. And then, like 10 years from now, there's going to be people that pick up this new wooden money they just did, and it's like, it's not the real pandemic stuff. And somebody else can be like, it's not the Great Depression stuff.
I don't know. This wooden money scheme better work, or Fournier. This could be the straw that broke the camel's back.
I don't know why I'm laughing about this recall effort.
Best of luck to Mayor Fournier. If you want to come on Conversations, get a hold of us.
Or the news dump. He could come visit.
Yeah, sure. All right, and with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Chronicle News Dump. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.